Good morning, good morning. Listen, I am making this video to help anyone who has gotten the code P20e8. That is a code I shared last week. I got a P20e8, and that code says reductant pressure too low. Okay, so last week I shared the depth sensor. If you got this code, you probably need to change out your depth injector and your you probably need to change out your depth injector and your depth pump, right? So last week I shared, oh, my glasses fogging up. Last week I shared I changed out the depth injector and the code went away on its own. So I had the depth pump, I kept it, and I was like, okay, well, I was going to change to both of them at the same time, but I wanted to see if it was just the injector, so the code never came back. Well, the other day the code came back and it said same code, and this is like a week later, right? Since last week, no code, everything drives fine. Code came back and it went into 150 miles before it reduces speed to 5 miles per hour, which is what it did the initial time. So anyway, I put the computer on it, cleared the code, came right back. And then I cleared the code the third time without switching it on, turned it off. It sat for 24 hours. I came back out, no codes, no check engine lights. I drove it for about 15 minutes to see if the code would reignite. It wouldn't come back on. However, I'm going to replace this depth pump because I believe that's what the issue is. And I should have replaced them together, but at the same time I know that the injector was bad because it went away, but also obviously the pump may have just failed a week or so later. Maybe the sensor inside the pump is not letting it build up its proper pressure, and even though it's not giving me a code now, it's cool. The temperature is not the same, the truck is not as hot as it was initially. I'm not going to take that chance and continue driving it. I'm just going to change the pump. It has nearly 400,000 miles. It's the original manufactured pump, and it's never been replaced. So you can only make it better by just replacing it. Then you got another couple 100,000 miles to go before it goes bad again. I'm going to show you here. You catch the previous video. That's the injector. That is the depth injector that has already been replaced. My design is probably not going to be like yours because the original design, the bolts go in this way, and they can get broken. So they were broken in. I had to drill this stuff out. So I had some buddies of mine just remanufactured this, and it's a different design. So my bolts here are welded inside, and this is just a 7mm nut that I use. You can get yours changed, or you can, if your bolts aren't broken, you just unscrew the bolts, unhook this entire piece, this injector piece, take this off, unplug it, boom, put the new injector on and hook it back up. Simple as that. Bada boom, bada bing. So that's already been replaced. Now I'm going to replace the pump, which is located here. You have two 13mm bolts here. I'm going to take these off, and then I'll show you the inside in just a second. One here, one here. Okay, so I have removing this cover. It's just a plate. I've removed that, and now I'm going to, this lock ring right here, I'm going to loosen this last. I had a tool that I ordered from Amazon to loosen this lock ring. You put it on there and you're supposed to be able to turn it, but it wasn't, it was, how can I say it? The tool was, it was kind of weird, and it didn't fit properly, and it said that it was supposed to fit because the pump inside the tank also has the same lock ring. But what I've found is that just using a flathead, because it goes in this way and it locks in. So what I found is just using a flathead, and that's what I did for the other pump, or either like a pry bar, and just put it right there and just tap on it a little bit to start spinning it back out of here. And that's what I found was easier for me to get it off. and once you get it off, it'll just pop down. But I'll take that off last. But this plug right here, I'm going to unplug this. Might not be able to get it by hand, so let me see. Got my little needle. I'm gonna pull that out. Let me see. I see the tab in there. There we go. It's kind of tight, but take your time with it. Be easy with it. Just push up on it a little bit if you can get one of these. Like a little needle nose or something. You get a pack of these from Harbor Freight for like $1.99. And if you loosen this, you don't want to break it, because that's your main plug. That's going to cause main problem. Push up on it a little bit and just put a little pressure. Slowly pull it out. So that is out of the way. And then, you see, I got to put the phone down. I'm going to put the phone down so I can use two hands to press up on this a little bit and slide this out. It's never been out before. 400,000 miles, so I'm going to use two hands so I can hold the housing and also pull the plug without putting too much pressure on it, damaging it. And then I'm going to unplug this sensor right here. This looks like the same type of, let me scoot over this way. This looks like the same type of connector that was on the depth injector. Yes, these little things here. I don't know if I can get my finger to the other side, but I'll be able to get my finger to the other side. And I gotta unhook that. You just pull this little plastic piece together, and you're supposed to be able to just slide this hose off. But I definitely need two hands because I don't want to break anything. However, if you happen to break these type of connectors, you can find these type of connectors like Advanced Auto. I know that they sell a whole pack of these, because when I was replacing the pump inside of the fuel tank, I broke the connector like this, where you just press it together and slide them in. They're plastic, so over time they get, you know, they change form, they deform. But I accidentally broke it, and I was like, oh shucks, because you need that to kind of hold that, click that piece, lock it in. And I went to Advance, and luckily they had a whole pack of these things, so I just put a new one in. So don't kill yourself if you break it. I didn't see this size one, but you could probably find one. All right, so stand by. So taking this, loosening this thing, this is what I was saying. You have to pinch the pieces together and then slide the thing off. And I did not want to break it, and it was hurting my little girl thumb. See how my little girl thumbs look? It was hurting my little girl thumbs. I ain't had enough strength for this. This thumb is hurt, and it broke the glove. So I had to go and get this, a strong man thumb. It probably won't be nothing to pinch them things together. So you can get, I got this. A needle nose plier would have fit better, but I just got this and put them on both sides, and I just lightly squeezed it. And then I prayed and said, Lord, help me get this thing off. It's tight. And I slowly was able to slide it off. So I slid off this. Now I'm gonna move this out of the way, and then just leave that right there. Death goes in there anyway. Just leave it out the way right there. And then what I'm gonna do is, before I loosen this pump and take the ring out, because it's gonna drain some. Y'all know my favorite store is Harbor Freight, right? So this right here, this hose is when I fill up the depth tank at the pump at the side of the tank over there. This is the gas tank. This is the depth tank. Well, this is the hose it travels through to go in the depth tank. So I'm gonna loosen this. It has these little two things on the side. I'm gonna loosen this. I got to put the phone down, I think, to loosen this again. My little girl fingers is tidiness, so I got to put two hands on it to put the pressure, and then I'm just gonna pull this off. Wait a minute. Okay, I needed two hands, so this just slid off, right? So I put that out of the way, and what I'm gonna do, I went to my favorite store, Harbor Freight, and I got this little thing right here. I think it was like $5-6. Just put one hose up top to the pump, one hose down to the bottom, and I'm gonna stick this hose in there, and I'm gonna take this bucket. I got this bucket right here, and I'm gonna pump as much as I can get out of this tank, so when I loosen it, I don't have fluid everywhere. And I'm not gonna reuse the same fluid. I've got case of death, so I'm going to use old fluid. So this is what I'm going to do, use this transfer pump and get some of the fluid out of here. And this thing was full of, this depth tank was full. I had actually just filled up before it started acting crazy. So it's got well over 3 gallons. It's a 5-gallon tank. And so this little pump works good. This is a nice little transfer pump. I'm holding it in my hand because it's so powerful. When I had the hose like this and I tried to shoot it, it jumped out of the bucket. And I got some depth all here. So I don't want to do that again. So I'm holding the hose as I'm pumping. And it is flowing out, baby. Lord, I might need another bucket. This is a 5-gallon bucket, though. It ain't full yet. So anyway, I'll stop this while I'm pumping. Okay, I have gotten every bit of what this pump is gonna get out. See, I got my favorite store bucket. And it was every bit of 5 gallons. So now I can hook this back up. This little quick connect, gotta put a little pressure on it to get it back over this thing. Wait a minute. All right, and it should snap. There we go. Now that's back on secure. Now I gotta pop that metal O-ring off, and that's when all the rest of the, well, no juices should flow from here because it's slanted. So if anything, it's back up in here, but I can look in the tank better when I've got this off. So now, getting to the hardest part for me, getting this metal O-ring off, which is not too hard, but you just got to tap it in the right spot. Guys, this is the tool. You definitely need this tool to get this ring off. I tried tapping it and it will not work. So that's the tool that you're gonna need to get this off, and I'll put I'll send you the link for that. But that's the tool. Now this right here can come all the way out. I gotta use both hands. So this is the old pump. It's got over 395,000 miles, and it is no good. You see this little silver piece is moving out, coming out in there. I don't think that's supposed to move. But anyway, the new pump doesn't come with this O-ring. So what I'm doing is taking this O-ring off of here. And I'll clean it up, wipe it, and give it a good wipe down. Get all dirt and everything off of it. Clean it up. And then I got the new pump. This is the new pump. So I'll take this O-ring on the new pump and I'll put it on the new pump. And I got threw all the old depth away. So I'm gonna use new depth, prime this pump. But I've got this new pump here. I'm gonna put it in this bag until I get up under the truck. Wait a minute. Okay, I'm gonna save the old pump because I like to save old parts, and then one day you probably can take stuff apart and figure out if you can replace something, if you can rebuild something. I don't know. That's just something I like. I be thinking, but I'm gonna save this. And again, without this tool, that bad boy ain't coming up. You can tap and tap and all that you want, and it ain't coming off. So my tool I ordered, it won't be here till Monday. But thank God for local folk. Look inside the tank. The tank is so clean on the inside. Clean on the inside. So anyway, the tank is clean. And I'm going to make sure I wipe off all around here. And I'm going to seat this new pump back up there. Then prime the bad boy up, baby. Ooh, okay. The new pump is in, baby. But the back of my arms, my triceps is burning, baby. Because you got to get them heat scripts in there. And you got to hold everything up. Right? Because this pump, I'm up under. So, not like the fuel pump. I had to hold everything up and my triceps is burning. And I don't have the locking ring locked yet. I just got it in there enough where I could have turned it with my hand to get it in there so it won't fall out. Right? So it's seated in there. Now I'm going to use the same tool. I'm going to connect the same tool. And you can order this tool from Amazon. I'll put the link in the description where you can order it from. But you need this tool. And it ain't got to go not even a full. It ain't even got to go a full inch of a turn. Maybe just an inch of a turn. But it ain't even nut. But it's so tight on there. You can't tap it off. You know. The fuel tank lock ring, I was able to tap it off. But again, that was on top of the tank and the tank was out. And I'm thinking maybe because of this bracket here. This whole plate that runs across that holds this tank in, you don't have a lot of clearance here. So I'm thinking that's why with me taking a chisel and a hammer, I just couldn't bam it out, right? So anyway, let me get this thing hooked up and I'll show you. The code may go away. The P20e8, the reductant pressure low. Once I get this new pump, once I get all this hooked up and I crank it up, the code may be gone, but I'll test drive it a while. I'll still put the computer on to see if it's got a stored code back in there, but it shouldn't since I cleared it out prior to switching off. However, this code may not pop back up on there. So anyway, that's it. Replacing the fuel pump. Correction. Replacing the DEF pump. The DEF fuel pump. The DEF pump. Yep. Okay, I've got the lock ring locking back, and it took pressure locking it back. It's kind of nervous, make you think you're gonna damage the pump a little bit. So I'm gonna plug this plug back up. I had this covered up so no DEF. You do not want DEF anything getting into your wire connector, because it could corrode. That DEF fluid is not good for wire. So I had that tucked out of the way, and I just heard that click in place. So now I'm gonna fasten that back. And then this, I didn't remove this DEF nozzle yet. This little nozzle here this for the what am I trying to say? The hose, the DEF hose. I'll remove that nozzle. Now I'm just gonna push that back in place. Did that click? Leave that click back in place. And what I'm gonna do, it sounded like it clicked. Okay, instead of putting the panel back on now, I'm not gonna put the panel back on just yet. Wait a minute. Make sure that fastens. Let me put this down. Okay, so I got that back in place. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna prime the pump. I'm gonna fill the pump up with 2.5 gallons of DEF, and I'm gonna let it prime. And once it's primed, I'm gonna crank it up, let it run, and I'm gonna come back here before I put this cover back on with these two 13mm bolts go. I'm gonna see it, make sure it has no leaks around here where I loosened it at, right? Okay, as you can see here, no codes, no lights. I just cranked it up and it's showing the proper amount of DEF. I put 2.5 gallons in with another little bit from a bottle, but I still have it kind of not I have it still on the ramps and everything. So as you can see, it's running. I have no lights, no codes. So I'm gonna go look up under, make sure I have no leaks. Okay, it is running and I have no leaks, baby. Job well done. So now all I need to do now is bolt this plate back on. Yeah. And I'll be good to go. Job is finished. Def pump replaced.